And we are now live. Good evening, hello everyone, and welcome back to another F1 22 social event. We're here for the Austrian Grand Prix. This time last week we were in China. If you haven't watched that race, go check it out because it definitely was a good one. But tonight we are at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. Let's get the tyres up. The only telemetry just takes up space, and the full track map so we can see if anyone makes any mistakes. Yellow flags out of the pit lane. Oh dear, that's a good start for Fake in the Red Bull. We've been going for about 30 seconds and he's lost his front wing. Better to make the mistakes early than in the race. We've got a full grid of 20 drivers once again, which is exactly what you love to see. All 10 teams and 20 drivers going at it for the top step of the podium, trying to get the full 25, maybe even 26 points in the race if they can claim the fastest lap as well. 18 minutes of qualifying as opposed to the 20 I'm used to in GT7, but that does not matter. We should get about 3 or 4 flying laps roughly. It's a relatively short track, only 4.3 kilometers long, 10 corners here in Austria, and this is where qualifying could be quite close as the track is so short. We've got a number of drivers out on circuit at the minute. The first one is Luffy in the scarlet red Ferrari. He's gone purple through the middle sector. I think he'll be the first driver to set a representative lap time of the first lap time of the session. If he makes it cleanly through the final corner, which he does, it's going to be a benchmarker from Luffy. It's a 1:07.3. We've got a few more cars coming around the final corner. One of them is a Mercedes and the other is an Alpha Tauri. We've got Fat and Zexify up to the line. I think Fat was on an outlap, but Zexify P2 on the medium tyres, quickly beaten by the Haas, who goes to the provisional pole slot. A few more drivers and traffic through the final corner. There's been an incident with the Ferrari. I'm not sure what's happened to the Ferraris. Preparing to go for a lap as Robbie has got a 5-place penalty for a collision with Jay. Now quickly popped that up on the screen. Where is Jay? I cannot see him on the leaderboard. There he is. He's in the Williams. Currently in 7th place on the medium compound, on 17th on the medium compound of tyre, the yellow striped tyre. So this isn't going to be the quickest lap. It will be, could be a decent lap. It seems X5 with a 1:05.7 on the mediums, but we will see faster lap times in theory on the softs. Now Bill goes into 3rd place, only a 10th quicker than our pitter in the McLaren, with Jay Evans in 5th, in a McLaren sandwich with Rudd in 6th place with a 1:06.7, with Nico Zora ahead of the 2 Ferraris and the Alfa Romeo in between. But with lap times in the 1:07s, 1:20s, we will definitely be seeing times, maybe even the 1:04s. This could be close as there's a lot of traffic in the final sector. 4 or 5 cars making their way through turn 7 and 8. That's one of the consequences perhaps of a shorter circuit such as the Red Bull Ring. The track is so short that a lot of traffic forms around the circuit. What can the Haas do? Goes up into 10th place. It's Jamin V Alonso goes up into the top 10 with that last lap. 1:16.001, gets knocked out of the top 10 by the Alpha Tauri, but can certainly improve, as that's his first sector split is improving by 0.5 tenth. Will keep up with his progress throughout the lap. Who's the Alfa Romeo up to the line, starting a lap for Gilliston, to think with the 1 and the 5. We've got a few new drivers in tonight, some names that I don't recognise, some that I do, so it's good to see lots of new and returning drivers to this one-off event. Zexify a 10.5 up on the medium compound tyres. That could be close enough, good enough to get him closer to the provisional pole time on the medium compound tyres. If you haven't seen the race in China, certainly go check it out, because I will definitely announce the results of that race throughout this stream at some point, so I'll give you some time to before I say any spoilers. And that was close between the Haas and the Mercedes. Zexify up to the line, improves by 4.5 tenths, only a tenth off provisional pole, and he's on the slower medium tyre. Great pace from the Mercedes driver. A few more drivers round the final corner. That's Milesson in the Alfa Romeo goes up into 8th place with that lap. We've got an Alfa Martin, or the Aston Romeo, as I said, called it once in China by accident. The Aston Martin of Vettel starting his lap, and we've got a spinner, and that is the other Mercedes of Jay Evans, I think, at the final corner. He's backed off his lap and will probably return to the pits at the end of this lap. So a possible mistake from the Mercedes driver with his personal best at 1 minute 6.1, currently in 7th place. What can JDM do in the Williams rounding the final corner? Keeps it within the white lines and the track limits, up to the line from 19th place. That was an outlap. Never mind. I hate it when I do that. Who have we got on a lap? There's a Mercedes of Zexify coming into the pits. We've got an Alfa Romeo and a Red Bull due into the pits. I think this Aston Martin's also into the pits. Have we got anyone on a flying lap? Is Robbie on a lap? Oh, he's coming around the final corner. It's not a very good lap because he's in the 1 minute 40s. That's an Aston Martin abusing the track limits. Up to the line on an Nevada's lap. Would have been a 1 minute 6 flat, so could have put him inside the top 5, maybe even the top 6 with that last lap. It's a McLaren of Road up to the line. Improves, goes up into 12th place with a 1 minute 6.7. There's a house up to the line. Is it your provisional pole sitter? They didn't improve. If it was, indeed it was, but he didn't improve on his last lap. We've got a Mercedes of Jay Evans. I don't think this is a good lap. No, this is the lap. He's going for it again on the soft compound tyres. This is the 4th lap he's done on the set of softs. So maybe he's saving a set for the race. As it looks like we might have a bit of an incident down at the final corner. A Haas into the pits. The Williams follows him in. I don't think there was any contact or front wing damage from what I could see. As on board, well not on board, but we were on board temporarily with the Ferrari as he makes his way through the final 2 corners, turn 9 in towards the fast swooping right-hander of turn 10. Really easy to go over the white line and abuse track limits, but he's kept it clean up to the line from 18th to 6th, just within a 1 minute 5.959, and we have some very close margins inside the top 13 at least. Very, very close as JDM knows. Who was that who just improved? I think it was the McLaren. I think it was Rudd who just improved, goes up into 8th place, and is a second off pole position because Russell Biffin in the Haas is improved on his last lap and he's 3/10 clear of Zexify, who leaves the pits on a set of the fast soft compound tyres. That 1 minute 5.3 was done on the mediums, and I think there might be about 5 or 6/10 difference between the 2 sets of tyres. I'm not too sure, don't quote me on that, but at a short track such as Austria, the different tyres aren't going to have a massive impact as if it was a track such as Spa or Suzuka, the more technical tracks where the soft rubber can be more effective. I don't really want to call you Fat throughout the stream, so I'm going to call you Geo in the Alpha Tauri. That could come across unintentionally bad. I couldn't think of the word, so bad will have to do. I've got a Haas coming around the final corner. Who is that Haas? So it's the provisional pole sitter who's coming into the pit. So apologies for flicking through all the drivers. Haven't done an audio test. Let me know, guys, in the chat how the audio sounding. Is it too loud? Is it too quiet? That would be most appreciative, just so I don't have to do it myself. Both Aston Martins yet to set a lap, although one is leaving the pit lane now. Sexify in the chat saying the audio is all good. You love to see it. I don't know why. I mean, I always do these audio checks because I've done half a stream without audio. And you're probably saying, how do you do half a stream? Well, I'm muting my mic to take a drink of water and then forgot to unmute it. So, yeah, I had to redo it. Can you believe I had to redo a stream? It was so awkward because I knew what was happening, but I couldn't. Anyway, that's a story for another time, and looks like Zexify's backed off of his lap, just letting some traffic pass through the final sector as Pushadino in the Red Bull this time. I think it was in the Red Bull last time, actually. Can't quite remember, but he rounds the final corner. 7 minutes left in qualifying. It's going to be a storming lap of, well, it said a 2 minute in the top right, but it's a 1 minute 5.7, so it's still a pretty decent lap time. Only 7/10 off pole position. The other Red Bull fake making his way through the middle sector in the other Red Bull. Let's ride on board. So keep an eye on his progress through the final couple of corners. In 6th up to 7th. Can he get into 8th before the final corner? Yes, he can. Looking for those meter boards on the left. Downshift to 6th. Can he keep it within the white lines on the left? Yes, he can. Can he keep it within track limits once again? Indeed, he does. Up to the line for the Red Bull driver, and he goes up into second place, a 10th of pole position, improves by 6.5 tenths, and it's the front row of the grid. One Aston Martin's up to the line, stays 19th place. I think it might have been another invalid lap, or he's just starting his flying lap, as Billy Misu's back into the pits, not comfortable with either his setup or the track, and that's Zexify round in the middle sector. He was 3 tenths up on his personal best, which could have put him close, if not on provisional pole, and Pushadin has been disqualified from the session for going the wrong way, and that is hugely disappointing for the Red Bull driver. He was in P5, now gets demoted to P20 as Zexify still improves. That can't have been Zexify, it must have been someone else who'd spun. My apologies, I thought it was someone span, and I thought it was a Mercedes. Was it the other Mercedes? The other Mercedes was nowhere near. I do apologise, but I could have sworn I saw a Mercedes off in the ground. It must have been the Red Bull. But then I thought I was on... I don't know. It's been a long day. It's Wednesday evening. It's only Wednesday evening. I can't think of any other excuses. It's Wednesday. It's not even a Friday evening. When GT7 usually happens. Can you see I'm getting GT7 mixed up? Someone saying why 5-place grid penalty for Robbie for contact with JDM, I believe it was. We'll check the race director after the qualifying session, but it was for contact within the first 3 or 4 minutes of the session. Yellow flags. There's a Haas or a Mercedes, I think, getting out of the way of a couple of cars. Let's keep an eye on the progress of Jay. 7 tenths down his laps. I don't think he will be improving. Jay Evans is supposedly 5 tenths up through the first sector, but at this speed I don't think he's going to be improving on that lap. What about Gilston? He's not improving. He's going into the pits. Serene Beetlejuice, we'll just call him Serene for now, for short. Otherwise that could... don't want to... You know... What's the words? I'm doing it now. I don't want to... Let's move on. The both Aston Martins yet to set a qualifying lap in this session. There's only about Sector 1 and Sector 2 minutes left. 4 minutes, just about saw that before we got yellow flags through the middle sector. 4 minutes and 22 seconds left to go in the session. Can Fett be the first Aston Martin to set a qualifying time? It looks good. It looks like he can complete the lap. Goes up into 12th place with a 1 minute 0.6060. And that is quite a satisfying lap. If it was 5 minutes longer, it'd be the perfect lap. 606060. Beautiful. Have we got any other laps like that? I won't specifically look out for them, although that is what I'm doing now. None that I can see. But as I'm looking through the laps, they are very, very close. Look at this. The battle for 10th place on the grid, separated by 0.03 of a second. And that is something that a short track like Austria provides. Close racing, and well, not necessarily close racing, because I guess in terms of lap time, you'll get a lot of... I mean, a track like Austria provides close racing because it's got 3 DRS zones, one after another. We've got someone up to the line. I can't see who it is. It's Nico Zora, who improves by 0.6 of a second, but stays 14th place for now. There's a McLaren up to the line. It's Rudd from 10th place stays 10th place. I don't think he improved on that lap, because he stays in 10th, despite it saying he improved by 0.6 of a second. Everyone in the chat, before we get qualifying finished, let me know your opinions on the new elimination game mode that was added in the most recent update at the time of recording. I enjoy the carnage, but I think it would be better if damage was off, because then that would be even more chaotic. So I think when you get damage, it kind of ruins your race, but I do like elimination races. They are fun. We've got a McLaren up to the line. It's our Pitter, who did improve, I think, on his personal best, although it doesn't look like he changed positions, despite what the timer is saying, the lap timer, sorry, in the top right, saying there's a Red Bull up to the line. It's fake. He just about keeps it within the track limits. Does improve, although I could have sworn he'd already done that lap. But I think he was already completed that 1 minute 5.1. Another McLaren up to the line. I believe it's Rudd. Goes up into 8th place. Who else have we got? We've got Terra Teddy currently bringing up the rear of the cars who haven't been disqualified. It's a 1:10.0. Needs to still find 2 seconds if he's to get above the Haas. Speaking of, there's one Haas coming around the final corner. It's Russell Biffin who has invalidated his lap, but it would have been a 1 minute 5.008. He's already done one at a 1 minute 5.008. I don't think that is the lap that he was just on. Billy Misu has improved, gone up into 4th place, and I think someone else just improved. I believe it was This is going to be one of those names where I just can't get right. It's so simple. My lesson. If that is wrong, then I do apologise. But when you split it up, but it's just something that's not flowing off the tip of my tongue for some reason. Evans up to the line in the Mercedes, doesn't improve. A few more cars coming up to the line. I'm just going to focus on the leaderboard so I can check to see if anyone is improving. There's an AlphaTauri of Sareem. No, it's not Sareem, it's the other AlphaTauri of Gio, who's gone up to the line. Hasn't improved, still got a 1 minute 5.7. Only a minute left on the clock, so anyone crossing the line now won't be able to get in a final lap time. Well, this will be their last lap time, sorry. What about Nabil in the Aston? It's not even green or an Alfa Romeo. In the Alpine, I don't know how I got that one mixed up. We've got a Haas of Jamno. It's the other one again. It's Russell Biffin up to the line. Still hasn't improved on that 1 minute 5.008. We've got a Ferrari up to the line. Is it Luffy? Yes, it is Luffy, but stays 19th. What about the Alfa? The Alfa Romeo. I was right that time. It's Milson. I keep putting the S and I keep swapping the S and the L. My lesson. Someone just improved and I missed it. I believe it was Serene Beetlejuice in the AlphaTauri. Got that one right. Zexify rounds the... No, that's not Zexify. It's Jay Evans. Rounds the final corner and the Mercedes stays 6th place. Anyone else improving? We do have now Zexify rounding the final corner. Has invalidated, but the 1 minute 4.9, the only driver in the 1 minute 4.9 is good enough for provisional pole. Fake spun at the final corner, so he won't be improving. What about the Alpine or the Williams? It's the Alpine of Nabil in 12th, stays 12th with a 1 minute 5.9. His teammate Nico Zora has already finished because he's got Tara Teddy in 16th, who's not going to be improving. Who rounds the final corner? There's who else is yet to set a time? We've got Milesum in the Alfa Romeo. Don't think he's improving. Pulls into the pit. We got one of the Aston Martins. It's Fett. He rounds the final corner. He smashed the DRS board up to the line and has invalidated for obvious track limit violations. One Ferrari. Where is he? It's Luffy from P19. Stays P19. But I believe I'll go with Jay Evans' story on a lap time. Can he knock his teammate off pole position? No, he can't, but he sets a 1 minute 5.6 and stays in 6th place. And then is it. Everyone else is either finished or is in the pit. So it's going to be the race winner from last week's event in China who takes pole position. It's back-to-back poles here in Austria. And he takes it by 400ths of a second. Let's get the gaps. Actually, no, we'll see the gaps up in a minute when we look at the times. But that is a very close qualifying session. The top 13 separated by 1 second. You could even extend it to the top 16 for a second and a tenth. But it's Zexify who starts in pole position alongside the Haas of... Oh, what's his name? No, this is really bad. What's his name? I could have waffled, but I didn't. Russell Biffin, that's it. Look at that. 400ths of a second. Robbie with a 5-place grid penalty. Let's check the race director. What was it for? Collision with JDM. Just as I thought it was. Well, we can see why the Aston Martins kept getting their lap times. Oh, hadn't set a lap time for a while in that session. But anyway, let's go through the grid. I've got 18 seconds. I'm wasting my time looking at the timer. Zexify on pole position, followed by Russell Biffin in second. Fake in third place, with Billy Miso alongside in fourth. The third row of the grid contains our Peter and Jay Evans. Gio in seventh, ahead of Milesum in eighth. Jay in ninth, and Sareem rounds out the top 10. Rudd in 11th, Nabil in 12th. Robbie in 13th, but starts 18th with a penalty. Then it's Gliston in 14th. Someone in 15th, someone in 16th, 17th, you get the gist of it. I can't remember. Pushadina's at the back, and that's all I remember, because he's got disqualified. There's no formation laps, so apologies about those who started lower than 14th. I can't quite remember, but we'll see it on the leaderboard when we get going. Let's get some facts about this track before we get the 5 red lights. The total lap length is 4.3 kilometres or 2.7 miles. Race distance tonight is 36 laps, and pole position starting on the left-hand side of the circuit. The run down towards turn 1, 216 metres. Maximum speeds of 203 miles per hour or 327 kilometres per hour, where drivers are full throttle roughly 80% of the lap. An estimate of approximately 32 gear changes across the lap, and the pit lane lost time just over 16 seconds. It's not a long run down towards turn 1 as the 5 lights begin to turn on. We've got 5 red lights here in the Red Bull ring, and it's lights out and away we go. It's a really good start from Billy Misu, who's already jumped the Red Bull. Might try and go down the inside of Russell in towards turn 1. Indeed he does. There's a lunge from an Alpine in the background. The Mercedes of Jay Evans I think got caught up on someone, but they all seem to have made it through turn 1 cleanly. As Xify already with an 8/10 lead. Yellow flags through the first sector. That's Rudd in the McLaren, who's retired on the exit of turn 1. We've got yellow flags and a virtual safety car after about 30 seconds of racing, and we've got a 5-second time penalty for Nabil for corner cutting and gaining 1 position. He'll serve that in the pit lane. But a good start from Xify, but the race neutralised slightly with the yellow flags in all 3 sectors. The virtual safety car has been deployed. It doesn't look like it's going to get upgraded to a full safety car, but that is hugely unfortunate for Rudd, not making it past turn 2. But let's have a look at the tyres whilst we've got the virtual safety car. Never mind, we've got the virtual safety car in. There's Xify who leads on the medium compound tyres. We've got a mix of all 3 compounds in use for the start of the race. We've got an overtake for 13th place as a Haas down around the outside of Gliston, who's into the pits with front wing damage. On the end of lap 1, must have got that from turn 1 as Robbie's under pressure from Jaminvi in towards turn 1. The Haas on the inside of the Ferrari gets up into 12th place. Xify with a 7/10 lead might try and push to get the second lap before the DRS becomes enabled. Fake will do everything he can to put the Mercedes under pressure. He's already down to 45% overtake, and we're not even at the end of lap 2. Russell in the Haas from second drops down to 3rd, but our pitter down to 4th, and Billy Misu looked like he had a really good start at launch, was 2nd place going in towards turn 1, but he's dropped down to 5th on the medium compound tyre. So top 5 all on the yellow striped tyre. The 3 cars behind them on the hards. They'll be going a lot longer than everyone else if their strategy goes to plan, and they need to do their best to keep up with the medium compound runners, try and stay within their DRS, which will be enabled in a couple of laps time. As we look at this, Fat Gio under pressure from my lesson through the final couple of corners. The Alfa Romeo getting a little bit racy on the Alpha Tauri, who goes defensive to the inside. Can my lesson try and look something to the outside, and the Williams has got caught up with an incident. The door was very tight, but I'm not sure it was exactly open for the Williams driver, who gets back facing in the right direction. But it's my lesson up into 6th place after getting ahead of the Alfa Tauri down in towards down the back straight in the run down towards turn 2. Serene now up into 13th place as the Haas is ran wide. Robbie now up into 11th as he's got ahead of the Haas. Someone's off in the background, and that is Pushadino in the barrier with no front wing. Doesn't look like it should deploy a safety car or VSC. We should get back to green flag racing. Jay, the 2 Williamses. James Heron now going side by side as Nabil in the Alpha and the Alpine now going side by side, but can't quite get past the 2 drivers on the hard compound tyre. Billy Misu in 4th place, looking to go down the inside of our pitter in towards turn 9, the penultimate corner, but couldn't quite make anything of it as the Mercedes tries to make his way up through the field, but can't quite find his way past Gio. In the slipstream with the DRS and a slight use of overtake, pulls alongside and ahead of the Alpha Tauri, similarly behind. Bet making up positions ahead of Nico Zora, now up into 9th place. Billy Misu in our pitter. The Aston Martin and the McLaren now going side by side in the run down towards turn 3, but the McLaren just backs off fit in the end. We'll get another chance in towards turn 4 with the use of the DRS, but he's lost the rear on the exit of the corner. Huge snap of oversteer as Serene concedes a position to Robbie. The Ferrari staying in 11th place. We've got Jaminvi in 13th place, looking to try and take those as soft compound tyres and use the advantage of the extra grip, and that's a lunge from the AlphaTauri. The switchback from Robbie on the medium tyres gets back up ahead of the AlphaTauri, and that was a late move. Luckily no contact was made between those two drivers, but it's getting heated towards the back in the midfield in this race between the 3 Ferrari powered cars and obviously the AlphaTauri. Luffy as well gaining on this battle. A lot of Ferrari powered cars towards the midfield of the pack, whereas we've got more Mercedes end at the top with Fake, well, obviously in the Red Bull, keeping up with the Mercedes of its Zexify, where starting lap 5 of 36, there's still plenty of laps left to go to try and make things work in this race. Sarib gaining on the Ferrari. He doesn't go defensive. Robbie's used all of his overtake already. It's going to be hard to recover that. He might lose 1, he might lose 2 positions on the exit of turn 3. The Haas gets out of shape on the exit, and the Haas is in the wall. Yellow flags for the Haas, who's reset to track, and unfortunately that, in the laws of Gavra racing, is a disqualification from the Haas driver and will be disqualified after the race. First 3-second time penalty has been awarded by Gio throughout the middle sector, running in 8th place on the hard compound of tyre, the hardest tyre available for this race weekend, as Zexify, he's almost broken the DRS range to Fake behind and hasn't used too much of his overtake in the process. Fake already down to 8%, so Zexify, if he can just gain that couple of hundredths he needs through the middle sector on this lap, then he's in a really good position to go on and make it 2 from 2, but it's definitely not over yet for the Welshman. There's still plenty of laps where anything could happen. Safety cars, mistakes, plenty of things could play such an important factor to whoever wins this race. Our pitter 7 tenths behind Billy Misu, Russell 4 tenths behind Fake, who's now out of the DRS range of its Zexify. And a track like Austria that's so short but easy for overtaking, nailing the pit window is going to be so important, because you don't want to be stuck in traffic, even though it is fairly easy to make overtakes at this circuit, but you might fancy yourself going a little bit further on into the race just so you don't get caught out in this sort of battle between the two Williamses and the Alpine in the middle. Speaking of, Sarah Teddy picking up a 3-second time penalty for going slightly over the white line through that middle sector. It's under a lot of pressure. He's putting Nabil under a lot of pressure. Through the final sector they go. We ride on board with the Williams. The Alpine's gone wide. That's going to compromise his run down in towards turn 1. The Williams is alongside and ahead of the Alpine before they get in towards turn 1 and pulls back over onto the racing line. But advantage now Nabil with the DRS, although the Williams now has the DRS from his teammate in front. Maybe the two Williamses can start working together to try and pull away from Nabil, who's on the medium compound tyre. In theory, his tyres should have more grip than the hards at this stage of the race. I think the softs might be starting to wear out in the next couple of laps. Rear grip is quite important, not necessarily a necessity as important as tracks like Monaco or Singapore, but it's important that you get the traction through turn 1, through turn 3, through turn 4, so you can pull away from the car ahead or gain on the car in front. Fake picks up a 3-second time penalty as day goes from not bad, but it's got a little bit worse as he's out of the DRS with a 3-second time penalty and under pressure from a Haas behind, who has the rear wing wide open. Up the hill they go for the 8th time this race. Our pitter ahead of Billy Misa, because Billy Misu's round in the Aston Martin. Thank you for the ghosting system, because that could have been a crash with his teammate who's looking to make moves on Gio. Up the hill, side by side between the Aston and the Alfa Romeo. The AlphaTauri. The Tauri's gone deep and the Aston Martin's gone through. Nico Zora wide and off the track. Billy Misu goes back through. The other Aston and the Alpine now going side by side. In the background you can see the Ferrari of Robbie going wheel to wheel with Jay, but on board with these two, Billy Misu to the inside. Nico Zora swoops around the outside. Robbie down the inside, and Jay gets up into 12th place. I have to say, I do much prefer commentating on GT7 when I don't know what it is, but I I don't know, the commentary's easier on that. For me, that looked like a late move from Jay. Saw a gap on the inside, but decided to back out of it. So you're going to have it going towards the final corner. No way he's close enough. Oh, makes contact with the back of the Ferrari. There's that front wing damage. No visible damage, but might have a slight knock to the end plate. He's going to have a go in towards turn 1 with the DRS wide open, draining the overtake to the inside, late on the brakes. It's very late on the brakes, just about doesn't keep it within the track limits. Nabil goes through both of them up into 11th place as the Ferrari and the other Williams now going side by side. They're going to go 3 wide in towards turn 3. The 2 Williamses running in 12th and 13th, now 12th and 14th, because Robbie's down the inside and he gets himself up into 13th, almost forces Terra off the track, similar to Verstappen and McLaren a couple of years ago now. Is Robbie not done yet though, because he's going to have a go at another Williams down the inside in towards turn 4, makes some slight contact with car number 66, side by side through the right hand kink that leads him towards turn 6 and 7. The Ferrari just backs out of it in the end. He's onto the grass, onto the curb. That's not going to help his run. There's Terra right, try and go round the outside. That was close, and that's a door that was almost slammed in his face. But we're back riding on board with the Williams through the final corner. Is that Toby going into the pits? No, it's not. Yes, it is. Meanwhile, we could have a position change for the podium position as Fake defending the inside line to Russell, who's trying to swoop around the outside. Yellow flags. Who is that? That's Sarimov down in the exit of turn 1. We've got Jay off as well. Maybe contact between the two. No, there's not. No, that's just position changes as we've got to drive it into the pits. Jay Evans now down the inside of the Alfa Romeo, up into 5th place. Can he keep it on the exit? Beautiful defending on the exit of the corner, places his Mercedes up into 5th place, but the Alfa Romeo, if I make this mistake one more time, I'm just going to end the stream. Oh, speaking of mistakes, that's a big one for Jay, and he's off down at just before turn 7, the exit of 6, as he's cutting the grass. He doesn't want to be facing the wrong direction for too long before he gets disqualified by the game. But as the cars now just fly on past, he drops from, 5th down to 12th, 7 positions lost. Massively unfortunate for him. Drops behind the 2 Williamses and Nico Zora, the 2 Williamses and the Alpines in their battle for 8th place. Yellow flags in the 3rd sector. He's off again. The tyres are just cooked on the Mercedes. He might pull it into the pits. Indeed he does. Off of the mediums onto the hards, probably earlier than he would have thought wanted. Meanwhile, Nabil not having the best of times in his battle against Jay, because he's going to be under pressure from his teammate Nico Zora and maybe Terra Teddy up the hill through turn 2 in towards turn 3. Terra on the inside of 1, can he go for it on the inside of 2? But Nico Zora almost plows into the back of his teammate as Terra just tucks in behind the Alpine for now. Running in 10th place as Nico Zora picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple track limit warnings. Now drops down to 11th place behind his teammate and behind Terra Teddy in the battle for 8th place. Back up into the battle for 2nd place. Sextify with a 2-second advantage. Fake not with the best run through the final corner. In 3rd place with the DRS wide open, but no overtake to aid in overtaking Russell Biffin. He's also quite low, 22%, whereas Zexify 73%, and he's got a comfortable lead. He probably wants the 2 cars behind to start battling a little bit more for his advantage to go up without him to have to push the tyres or use the overtake button as much as he needs to. But a 2.6 second lead, exactly what he wants after 12 laps of racing. Terra now trying to get the move done on Nabil up the hill in towards turn 3. Is it going to be a late lunge? No, he's going to wait for the DRS in towards turn 4. Focus on the exit of 3. Try and get a good run down the 3rd straight. Not deciding to use the 6th in, but he might be close enough to have a go to the inside. He's going to go for it. Nico Zora, no. Nabil swooping around the outside, maintains 9th place for now. Terra just trying to keep a nose in. Yellow flags. Oh, it's a Red Bull off. Is it Fake? It is. Round at the final corner. Is he going to pull into the pits at the end of this lap? Those mediums now just overcooked from the spin. Indeed he does pull into the pits, but it's a mistake from someone who was running in 2nd place. Not what he would have been hoping for, and I'm sure some words that cannot be repeated on stream might be coming out of the mouth underneath that helmet. And that is hugely unfortunate for the Red Bull. Onto the hard compound tyres. Will be aiming to go to the end. Could be an undercut attempt, although has lost a lot of time. Speaking of, Teddy would have lost time with a huge snap of oversteer on the exit of turn 1. He might lose the position to Nico Zora by the time they get to turn 4 if the Alpine's close enough, but I'm not too sure because Terra's going to have the DRS from the car in front of him. 13 laps full of action, and we've still got 24 left to go here in the hills of Austria, the Red Bull Ring. 10 corners making up this 4.3 kilometre long circuit, and we've still got plenty of action left to go. Zexify, starting this race on pole position, has got a 3-second lead after 14 laps. We've still got plenty of his overtake left for him to use. He might just start burning a little bit before he makes a pit stop, and then what he does burn might recover when he makes his stop. But definitely the fastest man on track at the minute. Who's got the fastest lap of the race? It is Fake on those fresh hard no, I don't think he's got the fastest lap on those hard compound tyres. Welcome Piero in the chat. How are you doing? Hope you're having a good day. It's now a 3-second time penalty for Nabil. I don't like this. Let's get back to interval. Teddy now up into 8th place after getting ahead of Nabil, who drops down to 9th, but will have a second bite of the cherry with the DRS down the second straight in towards turn 4. The rear wing wide open on the Alpine, but he's not going to be close enough, I don't think, unless it's a savage lunge to the inside, but not on this occasion. Went a little bit deep, I think, in towards turn 4, but does slow the car down in time. My lesson in the Alfa Romeo, gaining on our pitter, the hard compound tyres, possibly starting to come back into it on the compared to the medium tyres. He's got the DRS open, down the run down towards turn 1. Is he close enough to go for a move? I don't think he is. He's going to wait for turn 3. Yellow flag through the middle sector to Red Bull off. It's Fake again, and he's just pitted for the hard compound tyres. The cold hard compound tyres. It's a second mistake for the Red Bull as our pitter concedes 3rd place, and my lesson is up into 3rd. Oh no, it's a lunge to the inside. Our pitter back to the inside, but he can't get the traction he needs on the exit. It does have the DRS. We ride on board with a very dirty McLaren. The Alfa Romeo doesn't defend the inside line. The McLaren up hitter earlier on the brakes. My lesson late on the brakes, goes onto the grass nearly, but up into 3rd place, and it's a podium for the Alfa Romeo. Maybe those hard compound tyres starting to be effective against the mediums. Are we going to see any of the leaders into the pits at the end of this lap? Not for now. We've got a Haas staying out, but we've got Terra and Nabil still battling in their squabble for 8th place in this race. They've been going real to ill since pretty much since the start of time. 16 laps of racing between these two, and so far I think it's been pretty clean from what I recall. One on the hards, one on the mediums, so you start to think maybe Terra's starting to get or feel a little bit held up. Oh no, he's not being held up anymore because he has dropped it on the exit of 9. Is he going to pull into the pits and maybe try and take mediums to the end? No, not on this occasion, but he needs to be careful on those hard compound tyres because they're going to be hot. There's not going to be a lot of grip on the rear of those hard compound tyres, but there's another mistake at the final corner. We've seen 2 drivers drop it in the past few laps. Drivers just trying to push too hard on their tyres. Meanwhile, Billy Mixu in and out of the pits just behind Fake in 11th place, drops down to 12th and just weaves a little bit to get some heat into those cold hard compound tyres, which will take a few laps to get up to temperature. But we've got a bit of a train forming here behind the Ferrari of Robbie, the Mercedes of Jay Evans, and Glister, who goes down the inside of the Ferrari, punts the Ferrari off the track. Robbie now drops down to 5th place. It looks like the Alfa Romeo lets them all go back through, so fair enough for letting them go back through, but the move, it was very late on the brakes and has cost Robbie a couple of tenths, maybe some end plate damage, as he's now got Jaminvi close up behind him. The leaders into the pits, Zexify, Russell, Fetz and Nabil in and out of the pits. Zexify out in 3rd place, 6 seconds behind our pitter in clean air, the perfect stop that he needed for him to extend his advantage out in top. And remember when Fake was right behind, well not right behind, but 3 seconds behind the race leader, He's now down in 8th place, quite the way behind it's Zexify, who's now 5.4 seconds ahead of the Haas. Speaking of fake, he's making up places ahead of the Ferrari of Laffy, who concedes the position going in towards turn 3. Late on the brakes, can he slow it down in time? Uses first gear to get the car rotated. But the poor exit means he can't have another go on the Red Bull in towards turn 4, has to concede and settle for 9th place for now. Meanwhile, in the battle for 13th place, we've got Gio Gliston trying to get ahead of Javuvi. Oh, apologies. An unexpected yawn. If anything, this race has been nothing but exciting. I was going to say nothing but boring, but I was going to say, in my head I was thinking this race has not been boring, but I was saying this race has been anything. Never mind. I don't know what I was going to say. Billy Misu ahead of Laffy because I think the Ferrari's pulling into the pits off the medium compound tyres. Hello and welcome to everyone who's tuning in, and hello still to everyone who's been here from the start. Appreciate it a lot. 5-second time penalty for Laffy speeding in the pit lane, something that's quite easy to do in this game, trying to not lose those crucial tenths going into the pits, but when you push it too hard you pay a big price. Pejodino trying to pay the price on Gliston. Don't really know what that means, but he's going wheel to wheel with the Alfa Romeo up the hill through turn 2, approaching turn 3, the inside line for the Red Bull. Gliston tries to swoop round the outside, but will get a good run, having taken the wider line. DRS wide open on the Alfa Romeo. Can he fight this one on his 16 lap old medium compound tyres? Not on this lap. Mynestum now takes the lead of the race, starting the race on the hard compound tyres. The only driver, I believe, not to have made a pit stop as of yet in this race, and has a 6-second advantage over a closing Zexify, who's on a fresh set of the hard compound tyres. Yellow flags in the third sector. That is an Alpine. I think that's Nabil. It is Nabil, who's facing the right direction once again. Whether that was a reset attack or not, I'm not too sure. He was coincidentally stopped in the middle of the circuit facing the right way, so maybe might need to be looked at by the stewards. But then again, I did just look at the car from the spectator cam, didn't see the full thing, so can't put the blame on anyone. Not going to falsely accuse someone for resetting the track. But the gap starting to open up slightly between drivers within the top 13 as the different strategies come into play. Nico Zora trying to go for a move on Laffy. That's late on the brakes, goes wide once again off the track. Will concede the position as the Ferrari of Laffy goes through. Nearly contact made between the two cars. Nico Zora on the slightly fresh hard compound tyres, but not as fresh as the car in front. We'll have to wait for another go. JDM into the pits. Sorry, was also another driver who started on the hard compound tyres. We'll finish this race on the mediums, unless we have any late safety cars that might warrant a late stop for the soft compound tyres or any rain. But well, I mean, look at the sky. I don't think we're going to see rain anytime soon, although for those GT7 fans who watch the GT7 League at Gavra Racing, you'll know rain can just come like a flash. Remember the first race we've done at the Nürburgring for the mini season 1, the first start of the mini leagues, just comprised of 3-4 races. Lap 14, the circuit was flooded, and it started, well, we started ended lap 13 pretty much bone dry, ended lap 14 completely waterlogged and flooded. That's how quickly rain could make an impact on a lot of these drivers. If it were to rain, it's a short lap back to the pit, so it's not like Spa or Suzuka or Singapore where it's a long trek if you just miss the pit lane entrance, or Le Mans or the Nordschleife, or other long circuits that I can't think of at the minute. JDM up into 8th place after going for the move down towards turn 1 ahead of the Alpha Tauri, as the other Alpha Tauri, no terrors in the Williams. So it's the new fastest lap of the race on the mediums. It's a 1 minute 4.8, I think it was. 6.8. 1 minute 4 in the race would be pretty quick. Your provisional race leader, Milesum, into the pits, gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding, and your race leaders, it's Xify, now takes the lead of the race once again and is on course for another comfortable race win in the social events. I might have to put myself on the grid to stop this man, although the last time I was on the same grid as Xify, he did out-qualify me. That was in Imola, I believe, for another event. Can't quite remember what the event was, but it was at Imola. Pushadino and Gliston battling for 17th place. Oh, contact between the two. Pushadino into the sidebar. That was maybe weird. It looked like Gliston might have just purposefully had a late turn in through turn 6, and you know, Pushadino trying to take his usual line round the outside. Wasn't expecting the Alfa Romeo to do that sort of manoeuvre. It didn't look particularly vile or dirty, but does let him go back through. So maybe Gliston thinking he was at fault there. Lets the Red Bull go back through. Was that strategic though? Could have been strategic. Could have been good sportsmanship. Meanwhile, Nabil trying to swoop his way around the outside of the Haas, although I think it's actually the Haas trying to go down the inside of the Alpine. Luffy getting ahead of Nico Zora down towards turn 3. Is the Alpine going to send it into 4? Not on this occasion. Is the other Alpine going to send it into 4? Nabil on the inside of Jaminvi. The Haas concedes the position as Pushadino stays ahead of Gliston, who stays ahead of Robbie. Brings out 19th place in this race. We've only had one retirement after 23 laps, and that was on lap number 1. Unfortunately, Rad couldn't participate in this session no longer, and it's a front wing change for car number 2. The AlphaTauri Sarim into the pits for the hard compound tyres. Should comfortably finish the race on that set of tyre, as Robbie, well, he's not having a great day in 19th place, gets a 3-second time penalty. Only 4 drivers yet to pick up a time penalty. That could be crucial for the end of this race if we are gifted a last couple of laps safety car towards the end. Meanwhile, Terror and Gio going side by side through turn 6. Nico Zora gets back up ahead of Luffy. Meanwhile, behind we've got the Haas and the Alpine going wheel to once again. Jaminvi down the inside and up into 14th place, gets back ahead of Nabil. We've almost got a 4-way fight for 12th place here with Nico Zora at the head of the train. Meanwhile, Milesum on the fresh medium compound tyres trying to get ahead of our pitter and move himself onto a podium position here on lap 24. He's going to go for it with the DRS down the back straight in the run down towards turn 4. The door was left open, but he didn't go for it, just saving, but waiting for the right opportunities. It's going to be here and now. Not on this lap, but could use those fresh tyres to his advantage. Let's quickly have a look at the battle for 12th place, because Luffy, well, now the battle for 11th as Luffy gets up ahead of Nico Zora, who could be under pressure from Jaminvi behind. It's 3 wide going in towards turn 3. A little bit of contact between the Haas and the Alpine. 3 wide on the exit as the Ferrari runs wide and off the circuit. Rejoins side by side with Nico Zora. Nabil could find himself interested in this battle. He's passed one Ferrari. Can he get ahead of his teammate? Trying to thread the needle through the traffic as the 2 Alpines are going side by side. Luffy with a good exit might try and capitalise on these 2 battling for 12th place. Nico Zora on the outside, Nabil on the inside, as Nabil gets up into 12th place as Milesum gets up into 3rd place. Our pitter will try and fight this one back with all the grip he has left on those 6 lap hard compound tyres. Contact! We've got a crash between Luffy and Nico Zora, but we're going to keep looking at this battle for 3rd place as our pitter couldn't quite get the move done, and it's a battle that was edging towards this moment with a little bit of wheel banging. Nico Zora and Robbie round at turn on the exit of turn 8. There's another car off. It's Sarin in the AlphaTauri who's slow at the final corner, and a mistake from him. And Luffy and Nico Zora around once again. The hard compound tyres overheating after their spin. Luffy's into the pit. Is it to retire the car, or is it for a change of tyres? We'll have to wait and see. But that's massively disappointing in a battle that was so entertaining. Meanwhile, Gio up into 13th place due to the unfortunate events between the Alpine and the Ferrari. Luffy into the pits off of the hards, goes onto a set of the mediums, but it's 17 lap old mediums. Is that fake round again? No, it's not. But yellow flags in the first sector. Is that Terra? Who's off? I'm not sure who's off through the first sector. But yeah, you only get one set of medium compound tyres to use in the race, which is why Luffy is on a 17 lap old mediums. More yellow flags. We could be getting quite close to virtual or a full safety car at this rate. Robbie with a 3-second time penalty for track limits. There's an Alpha Tauri who's struggling with rear grip. It's Serene Beetlejuice. I think he's just overheated his rear tyres and can't quite get the car going in the right direction. The other Alpha Tauri making moves up into third place. Pushadino trying to capitalise on this battle and go wheel to wheel with the Alpine. You can see the dirty Alpine on the left hand side of the track, side by side, late on the brakes. That could have been close with the Alpha Tauri, but it slows it down in time, and that's Pushadino up into 13th place. Battles all over the circuit. Nabil gaining on these guys as well. Meanwhile up front we've got Fate gaining on Billy Misu on the back of Fett. The two Aston Martins battling for 5th place with Fate close behind them after making 2 mistakes earlier in the race. He's clawing his way back through the field. Meanwhile, it's just a tactical change between the Aston Martins as Billy Misu's down the inside of Fett in towards 4. It might have cost him a position to Fake, who's trying to capitalise and go down the inside and try and get up into 6th place, but he can't do it on this occasion. But with Warner hard compound tyres, he might struggle. He pitted early after the mistake at the final corner. The 2 cars in front of him on fresher hard compound tyres. Let's see how this battle unfolds between the 3 cars in the battle for 5th place. Billy Misu in a good position, not with the warmest or the freshest of tyres, but penalty free as things stand. Here the flags through the first sector. That's another AlphaTauri. I believe it's Sarim again off at the final corner. He's beached on the curb. He's beached it on the curb. This could be a virtual safety car. He won't be able to get that going. He has beached it on the curb, and some might say it's a glitch, but it is indeed a feature for this year's game. In a couple of seconds we'll get disqualified, and there it is, for being parked in a dangerous location. That is the worst place and most unfortunate place for him to spin, and the worst way to go in a race. Meanwhile, the Aston Martin's battling once again. Look at this, Jay down the inside of Fake, and I don't think that's the first time we've seen a Williams go for a small gap on the inside, and he's paid the price round at turn 4. Jay trying to gain now on Fett, put the Williams behind him and forget about that battle. He no longer has to focus on the car behind him. Fett in a difficult position. Does he attack or does he defend? He's got to keep in mind both when racing for the final 7 laps of this race. Lap 29 of 36, but about to start lap number 30. Here in the Red Bull Ring, this has been such an entertaining and exciting race, to the point where I don't think I've stopped all race, and we're on lap 29 out of 36. These guys going at it once again with the DRS wide open. Fett's got a bit of a gap now to Billy Misu. Maybe he might use his teammate to stay ahead of the Red Bull, who's looking for moves left, right and centre. He's on the worn hard compound tyres, but that's not going to stop him from making up places in this race. Is he close enough this time round to go for a move on Fett down towards turn 4? Looked at the inside but realised he's not close enough to go for the move. Keeping in mind we've got our Pitter gaining on my lesson still for the battle for 3rd place, both with 3-second time penalties I believe, but a difference in tyre compounds and tyre life. Pushadino gaining on the back of Gio in towards turn 3, can't quite get the move done on the AlphaTauri, but we'll have another go with the DRS wide open on the Red Bull. It's gaining and gaining with every second the rear wings open. Does he send one to the inside? Not on this lap, and we'll save it for another opportunity, maybe one that proposes more of a greater chance of getting the move done. Meanwhile, the battle once again for 5th place continues to roar. I don't know what word I was thinking of. Bear with me, I do need a drink, otherwise I will die for the final 7 laps. Now the time rehydrated. We can get back to the racing action. It's Zexify has now pulled out an 11.2 second gap to the car behind as he starts lap 31 of 36. 6 laps to go in this race. We've got our Peter still within the DRS range, hanging on for dear life on the back of the Alfa Romeo as we still got this three-way fight for 5th place. Billy Misu in a good position without any time penalties, but that could still change. Austria, really easy just to push the boundaries by a couple of pixels and gets you the warning, and you do it once and then you'll do it again, and the next thing you know you have a 3-second time penalty to your name. Thank you to everyone who has stayed with us throughout the course of this race, and to any new viewers who hasn't seen the start. Well, this race has been filled with a lot of action from start to finish, from top to bottom throughout the entirety of this grid. The battle for 5th place, it's been a battle that's been growing for the past few laps between these 3 drivers, and the gap was 8-5 tenths, not close enough to go for a move. Billy Misu just keeping his teammate in 6th place, I do believe. I think it's not clear, but I think it's kind of clear. Billy Misu is the faster out of the 2 Aston Martins as things stand, and if this was a league race, they're doing a pretty good job at working together. This is just a one-off social event, so there's no Constructors' Championships that will have an impact in the long run. Meanwhile, Gio and Pushadino fighting for 11th place. The Red Bull trying to swoop around the outside of the AlphaTauri, and that's a beautiful move with the driver on the exit of the corner, has the DRS as well, although it's a good fight from the AlphaTauri. What wings is he running to keep up with a car that's got the DRS open? Is that a spin from the race leader? No, it's not. It's Jaminvi in 16th place at the final corner, but a beautiful move from the Red Bull. Pushadino up into 11th place, although 18.5 seconds behind the next car, which will be pretty hard to gain in 5 laps. Fett closer to his teammate than he is the car behind. Is he going to go for a move? We'll have to wait and see. Continues to open the rear wing on the Aston Martin. Here goes Fett, 4 tenths behind now. Fett hasn't got a good run through turn 3, but he's still not going to be close enough. The DRS keeping him in 6th place. Billy Misu giving him... we got a car off. Is that going to be a safety car at the end of this race? It's Jaminvi who's retired in an odd location. Can they clear that car, or will it warrant a virtual safety car or a safety car? As Fett's round, Fett in the Aston Martin has dropped it on the exit of turn 8. He's facing the wrong direction. He's doing donuts. This isn't Vegas, but he's now dropped to 8th and he dropped to 9th as Terra Teddy goes through, and that is the battle for 5th place that's quickly evaporated in a matter of seconds. Will he pit to try and go for fastest lap, get off the worn, overheating hard compound tyres? It looks like he's going to do it that way. He's not going to lose the position to Pushadino, who's 30 seconds behind. But what Zexify doesn't need is a late safety car in this race. I think when Zexify crosses the line and starts lap 34 of 36, I don't think a safety car can be deployed with limited laps left to go in this race. But he rounds the final corner to start the lap 34. 3 laps to go here in the Austrian Grand Prix. How quickly they've flown by with all the action that's happened on the circuit. And it's not going to stop right there, because we've still got a battle for 10th place between Gio and Dino. The AlphaTauri late on the brakes might try and repay the favour and swoop around the outside. Having taken the wider line, we'll get a good run with the DRS. Pushadino goes defensive to the inside, going in towards turn 4. Late on the brakes for the AlphaTauri, swoops around the outside and is back up into the points. A little bit of contact between Pushadino, but he doesn't go through. He lifts off the throttle. Good sportsmanship from the Red Bull, and maintains 11th place. Just a slight nudge. Nothing, nothing on purpose. It wasn't, intentional, but good sportsmanship from Pushadino. Just backs off the throttle and lets Gio keep the position. Has lost a couple of positions pitting for the soft compound tyres. I thought the 30 seconds would have been enough. It must have not updated in the gap. But with the soft compound tyres, can charge through the field in towards turn 1. He's going to go for the move on the bill, and that could be the easiest move. He makes this race. Oh no, it's not going to be the easiest move, because he's in the wall and he's lost his front wing, and that is not what you want to be saying with a car going for a move on the inside. You'd have thought they're fresh soft compound tyres, but he got on the curb on the inside. We've got his Salpitter round. It isn't Salpitter at the final corner from 4th place in the race. Is he going to lose a position to Billy Misu? Yes, he is. What about Fake behind, who will be getting on those hard compound tyres? But our Pitters are going to be overheated. They're going to be cooked. Going towards turn 1, needs to play it cautious. Yellow flags as Fett has now retired. You can see the Aston Martin off the side of the car, off the side of the track. What is happening at the end of the race? We've got mistakes happening left, right and centre. First it was Jamin. Oh, there's another one. There's another one right in front of us. Who was that? Was that Nico Zora? No, it's Nabil, who's now down to 13th place. It's exploding at the end of the Austrian Grand Prix. Insexify rounds the final corner to start the final lap of this race. Pushadino is still not giving up for the final point in this race. He's going for it against the AlphaTauri. More yellow flags through the final sector. That's someone off, but we're going to keep an eye on this battle. Gio tries to defend the inside line, but Dino's there late on the brakes. They're side by side on the exit of the corner. This is great racing from these two. It's fair, it's clean, it's beautiful. They're side by side, but with the DRS, Dino gets ahead, uses all of his overtake button as well, and gets up into the points. And with limited corners, you'd think he'd finish inside the top 10, but let's go back to one man. I thought he was rounding the final corner, not gonna lie, but he has coped brilliantly in this race, and it's a very similar one to the Chinese Grand Prix last week. He started this race on pole position, and apart from when he pitted, he's led every single lap in this race, and he's only got 2 corners to negotiate. It's a 14-second lead. It's a 36-lap race, and well, what more can we say? He rounds the final corner for the final time, penalty-free, from pole to victory. Insexify wins the Austrian Grand Prix. Russell gave it his all, but will finish in 2nd place, it seems, and Marsden in 3rd, rounding out the top 3. But let's quickly have a look at the battle for 10th place once again. Gio on the back of Pushadino. More yellow flags. We've got an Alpine off at the final corner. That's Nabil losing it to the Ferrari. Was there contact between the two? Was there contact between the two as they crossed the line to finish this race? A drag race between those two drivers. I think that was a lap car, but Pushadino trying to give it Gio trying to give it his all against Pushadino. Billy Misu finishes in 4th with our Pitter in 5th. JDM finishes in 5th ahead of Fake in 7th. Tara Teddy in 8th ahead of J Evans in 10th, in 9th place. But the battle for 10th place, how will this unfold? Has Pushadino done enough to stay ahead of Gio? And I think he might just be able to claim the last points in this race if he keeps it clean through the final corner and not get a penalty or spin out. But a brilliant show from these two, finishing in 10th and 11th. And what a race. The Austrian Grand Prix never fails to disappoint. It's one of the favourites here at Gavra Racing, and this is why. A beautifully executed race from its Exify as Tara Teddy wins driver of the day, gaining the most positions in the race. Onto the podium celebrations. There you have it. It's another pole to victory type of race for Insexify. Russell in 2nd place, couldn't quite challenge the Welshman today as my lesson finishes, rounds out the podium in 3rd place. Going through the grid, we've got Billy Misu in 4th, up Pitter in 5th, JDM in 6th, Fake in 7th, J Evans in 8th, ahead of Tara Teddy in 9th, and Gio rounding out the top 10, beating Pushadino, who drops to 11th on time penalties. Everyone below 12th got lapped, with Gliston in 12th, Nabil in 13th, Robbie in 14th, Nico Zora in 15th, Luffy in 16th, Fett in 17th, and your non-finishers, Jaminvi, Rerd, and Serene Beetle, disqualified for beaching it on the curb at the final corner. Someone was saying they added the new Audi F1 car into the podium pass. That is correct. They have added a new Audi. The 2026 Audi livery that they announced when they released the announcement that they were going to be entering F1. That's not what I wanted to do. Let's have a look at it, actually. For those, we'll finish it on the Audi. But yeah, that's the end of the Austrian Grand Prix. Hello, everyone. No, not hello, everyone. That's the intro. Thank you, everyone, for watching. It has been a pleasure, you guys joining me once again through one of these streams. There it is, the Audi launch car that is available. Ooh, that's also the McLaren available. I haven't actually checked the podium pass. What else is there? Probably shouldn't do this on stream, but we'll quickly flick through through everything. Some nice liveries, some nice radio messages, some celebrations. You know, your usual podium pass. That's quite a nice helmet. Do like my helmets, and then obviously the exclusive prestige stuff at the end. But we'll finish on the Audi, seeing as it was added, I think today, or no, yesterday, or a couple of days ago, whenever. Thank you everyone for watching. That was the Austrian Grand Prix. Stay tuned this Saturday for hopefully round 10, the GT7 League, if that goes ahead. If the servers are still broken, then obviously, well, unfortunately, it will be postponed till the new year, which would be a shame after the season we've had for the season to be postponed after the servers have got a lot of instability issues. Remember, this weekend, join us for the Weekend League. Unfortunately, I don't think I won't be there for that, so yeah, you won't have to enjoy me, but you'll enjoy two brand new commentators who have done a fantastic job thus far this season, and maybe another event next week. Stay tuned, join our Discord to find out when we are going live and for any events in the future. Goodbye everyone, stay safe. And a Merry Christmas, if I don't speak to you again, if this is the last stream you hear from me before Christmas. Goodbye.